Welcome, wannabe and experienced play-based parents. This is Matthew C. Andrews at Fam Play, where we show parents and educators how to use play and projects to engage youth and students of all ages in active, lifelong learning. A few of us have been hesitant to launch a video campaign to promote play and projects because it's against our philosophy. And to remind you, lesson number one and most important, if you get any message from Fam Play and myself, is as a parent, unplug the computer and our television and everything else we're doing. Unplug from our busy lives. Unplug and play. This is the most important message at Fam Play. Once you have the message of unplug and play, we use play to support lifelong learning. Play is time to enjoy and explore. There's free play where almost anything goes, and more structured play, which is traditional family activities of, hey, let's create a band. There's all sorts of play. Competitive play as in athletics and sports. You can have a race. There's cooperative play where we do something together. There's individual or solo play, and then there's social and group play. There's play for recreation and play for stress reduction and play for lifelong learning. We do all sorts of kinds of play. We play with friends. We play in the neighborhood. We play in the woods. We play with family. Projects. Play happens for sure before age 12. Now, we can play for our entire lives, but a project begins to become more important after age 12. And as adults, we think in projects. It's fairly easy for us to think in projects with a goal in mind. But projects can be introduced. My 8-year-old did projects all weekend. Projects are time to develop the self in the world. There are personal projects about our health, skills, and lifestyle. We try to lose weight or live healthier or go pick up another job skill. And there's also projects that are service projects where we wish to contribute something to the world. Education gets kind of mixed in between the two, and we kind of lose track of all projects. But projects are a way, both kinds of projects are a way to engage in lifelong learning. Let's look at the approach of Fam Play more specifically on how we do this. We nurture the nature. First, and the discussion starter one is to observe learning. We have to focus and see where our children learn, so that discussion starter 2 in the second phase of Fam Play can be to support this risk with responsibility throughout life. These are difficult to do, but first we observe learning and then we support risk with responsibility. We're nurturing the nature. And what we're doing, what this nurture the nature refers to, is how we model virtues of character and learning. Children pick up how they are being nurtured. They begin to act how they are treated. They act towards others how they themselves feel acted upon. So when we model virtues of character and learning as parents, what we're doing here is nurturing the nature with a focus on lifelong learning and learning for life in play and projects. Many of you in phase 2 here and are looking to move from observing. You see the learning that happens throughout family time, throughout the child's life. We've begun to understand that we cannot rest, and we never should think our child is going to learn everything in life in the 6 hours of school from the teacher. Again, it's ridiculous and absurd to think about that, but so many of us in lesson 1 and discussion 1 had to spend time observing learning. So first we observed how the child approaches the task. That's what we're looking for as play-based parents. The ideal here is, when does a child engage in learning? How? Why? What are and what time of day does that child engage in the learning? What we're understanding here is our common core, as we've talked about in previous blogs and previous discussions. Our common core are the academic skills of learning in school. But those are not necessarily the important lessons we learn in life. So family play and family projects are time to learn the important lessons in life. Now, moving from observing and recognizing that the first step, or it might take 10 steps, but the phase 2 in discussion 2 of supporting risk and responsibility, with the ideal to support risk with responsibility, but play and projects are time for children to learn and experience risk and responsibility. First, a very simple solution for the practical-minded parent looking for some play-based solutions and ways to use this. Boredom. Whenever a child is bored, I have a project or some sort of work that they can do. It's a solution to anything. Hey, would you like to do this? Hey, would you like to do that? I'm not trying to entertain him to get him out of his boredom, right? The other way is to turn on the TV. Oh, yes, continue to be bored and watch bad TV. The solution, the play-based parenting solution, is turn off the TV, unplug, and solve the boredom with a project, work that matters in the world. Now, as a play-based parent, you have to try out all sorts of these things for our children. The other is to misbehavior. If my children, they're having a sibling conflict, sometimes I mediate and allow them to talk it out, and I function as a mediator. But a very practical solution here is, especially if it's before dinner time or I'm trying to do work, the solution, I have a project. We're not even discuss this fight. If you have time to fight and whine about what's going on and you need my intervention, then it's time to work. We're going to do projects. But the purpose of both play and projects and fan play and our efforts in both phase 1, discussion 1, phase 2 and discussion 2, and even under phase 3, which we're not discussing yet, of modeling the virtues, but the focus of all this is to design play and projects, the environments that support the play and projects that are full of opportunities. As you can see, I've botched up my own slide, but design environments and provide opportunities. That is what we're doing as play-based parents. For those experienced play-based parents, we know we cannot do this alone. Sure, we've learned lots of things. You may have even taken the online course and being a fully credentialed 2 thumbs up play-based parent. We cannot do this alone because as the neighborhood and more educators and more of us understand how play and projects are beneficial for the growth of our whole child, we realize we need more people involved. So as we say this, the first and most important thing we promote for any, what I say, wannabe play-based parent, but this is grandparent or educator, anyone who wants to use play and project, your first task is you have to set aside and steal and find 15 minutes every day to engage in free play with your children. This means that's 15 minutes where the child may do what they feel, and the adult in this case is often just kind of doing along with what the child does. We can suggest things, we can do all sorts of things, but it's free time, free play. The message of unplug and play is absolutely essential here because free play is not video game play, right? Video game play is structured play. Again, sometimes we can choose to do other things with electronics, but it's essential in this first phase. And if we're introducing people to the concept of family play, they have to understand we unplug, but it's simply free play. What are you supposed to do with it? Engage. Engage adult and child and enjoy this time. This is what Fam Play for Beginners is all about. The more experienced play-based parent begins to understand how family play and projects are essential. They're the lifeblood of learning that happens in life. First, play is time to develop the self in the world, with freedom to engage as a whole person with low to little risk. Again, this presentation is trying to infuse our parent discussions and the discussion about education with better language to talk about play and projects. The difference between play and projects are time to build something in the world that has standards and risks to manage. When someone builds a shelf serves a certain purpose and therefore needs certain standards. And I will, as a builder or my child building the shelf, take certain risks. How tall does the shelf go? How wide? How do we need to support it? But we are balancing some standards in a field of carpentry or engineering, if you want to get too complicated. Don't give our play and projects that much credit. But We have standard. The shelf has to function in the project. And we also have risks to manage. Now, there's some standards and risks to play, but for the most part, play is freedom. Play involves freedom. What both play and projects do, especially at fam play, and what many of your questions are about, is family play and projects are time to learn about risks, standards, freedom, and develop character. These are all what we've been referring to as fam play flowers. Again, don't take any of this too seriously. One of the reasons we have play-based parenting is because I do not want to get involved in the parenting debate. We don't need a dichotomy, this way or that way. What we need as parents and educators and all of us is to focus on learning. And I think what many of us are becoming more and more aware of is we overschedule and we do all these sorts of things for our children in the name of education, but so many of them have lost learning. So no matter what, if you are a parent or educator using play or projects, we need to focus on a few things, but we need to understand how we are using the play and projects to promote learning. This is learning with growth for the whole child, whole family, and whole world in mind. Family play is time for learning all sorts of things. And what many people notice in the first month in discussion 1 at Play-Based Parenting is all the life skills, all the opportunities a child has to pick up new life skills simply within daily routines and living as a family. We go to the grocery store, we need to have lists and budgets and all these and healthy meals, which is a simple way to educate a child. What are we learning about? Many of you have pointed out healthy habits. It's the habits. Sure, in school there's one kind of learning where the teacher expects us to know a certain answer or be able to critically think about an academic subject. But what's lost in all of that school is time for children to develop and learn about their healthy habits. That's what we do as play-based parents. We provide play and projects that are time for children to learn about life in the world. That's what gets missed. And my stress about this world-centered education, we need children to have opportunities to learn about life in the world and to actually engage in the learning. That's the key if you're a play-based parent or an educator. And again, I'm not meaning to get in the middle of debates of one way or the other. What we want to do is infuse the discussions of parents and educators with how are we teaching the next generation the virtues of character that are necessary for our society and citizens to thrive. Again, many of you like it and you tease me about using these academic language, and again, I can spin yarn for a long, long time here. But I want one message to come out of any video that FamPlay produces here. And again, we've kept it simple, and thank you for all the free software out there for others of you that want to do the same. But what we want every single parent to get the message of is we need to unplug every single day for 15 minutes so that we connect with our children. It's the connection. I don't know that any miracle is going to happen in the 15 minutes that you connect with your child today, but the routine and the habit that we develop to promote life skills and healthy habits is we play and we do projects with our children for 15 minutes every day. And through that fertile soil, we allow our whole child, whole family to grow into a whole world. Hey, enjoy your experiences and discussions at FamPlay. And again, this is Matthew C. Andrews. Thanks for joining us.